The saying is, a tongue has no bones, but can still break a heart. On today's case, Ms. Kryger says her partner's poisoned tongue has forced her to piece her broken heart back together far too many times. She says that after 9 years together, she's tired of being Mr. Parker's emotional punching bag and being treated like a servant by the man who is supposed to love her. Now she says if something doesn't change with Mr. Parker, she's ready to take their 2-year-old son and start her life over without him. Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Kryger versus Parker.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kryger, Mr. Parker. Ms. Kryger, you're in court today because you admit that you are at a crossroads in your 9-year relationship. You say you gave up everything to be with Mr. Parker, and all you got in return was heartache and despair.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Parker, you admit that you've made some mistakes, but you say it doesn't warrant tearing your family apart. You want to work on your issues in hopes of saving your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you all are extremely young. I mean extremely young. Ms. Kryger, you're 21 years old, and Mr. Parker, you're 23 years old. Yet my notes say that you all have been together for 9 years. My goodness, what brings you to divorce court?
I'm here because I just feel like I'm his emotional punching bag. There's no more love, there's no more emotion, and I just want to save our relationship or we can't work out anymore.
And there's a child that's involved. You have a 2-year-old together, so it's very important. Mr. Parker, what do you say to that?
I've been with her for over 8 years. We have a son together, and I'm really just here to try to fight for the relationship.
You all met when you were, normally I would say teenagers, but you were actually tweenagers. You were very, very young. Ms. Kryger, how did you meet? And let me just walk through to what got us to this point.
Yes, Your Honor. We met on Facebook. I was 13 and he was 15 years old. I lied about my age, not gonna lie. And
You're not gonna lie that you lied.
yeah.
Okay.
And you know, we met on the first day and we kicked it off from there. You know, it was a lot of lust, there was a lot of love. You know, God brought us together.
At 13 years old? Don't
Yes,
be putting
Your
God
Honor.
in that child. 13 years old, you're supposed to be going to the movies and kicking it with some friends and going to great adventure. Where are y'all from? Y'all from Dallas. You're supposed to be going to amusement parks and to the skating rink. You're supposed to be having fun and getting braces and getting... At 13, you wanted to be tied to a boyfriend?
I guess, Your Honor.
What about you at 15, Mr. Parker? What were you looking for?
A friend, and we gained more than a friendship after that, basically.
So how did you all decide to get together and make it more permanent? Because I think for my court team, they would say, how did these young people run off and become man and wife?
Well, we took each other's virginity and
Oh, you know I want to be Auntie Star right now, telling you how early that was. Okay, go ahead.
he was just handsome, you know. He attracted me, and you know, my family was against it, so my family actually kicked me out the house at 14 years old.
Really?
And I had just been living with Jonathan ever since I've been, you know, 14 years old.
So, Mr. Parker, your family took Miss Kryger in at 14 years old?
Yes, my mother.
Well, she's a saintly woman, but that's a lot for 2 young people. You all just grew up together.
He's my best friend.
It's almost as if you become codependent on each other because y'all just have each other to depend on. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor. He's my fiance. We've been engaged for 3 years. He gave me a ring, but it actually went out the window.
Who threw it out the window?
I did.
Why you throw the ring out the window?
It's just a lack of communication. You know, he calls me all different types of hoes.
Oh, that's not lack of communication. That's rude and disrespectful.
As well.
What is that about, Mr. Parker? I know Miss Kryger thinks that you have treated her like an emotional punching bag. What's that about?
I've had problems, I guess, and I mean, everybody has their issues with saying something to someone, I guess.
I can't imagine somebody that I love calling me out of my name, the B word and the H word.
But you don't call your mother of your child that.
Ms. Kryger, why don't you go ahead and walk me through what you say has really become a problem of emotional abuse.
Yes, so we moved from Illinois to Texas. I left my family, I left everything in Illinois to be with Jonathan. I was actually maybe about 6 months pregnant, and I gave birth to my son in Texas. And from Texas, I actually, like I said, gave birth, and I went through my postpartum depression, and you know, everyone needs someone mentally and emotionally there for them.
Absolutely.
So it was a time where I tried to talk to him about how did he feel about my body changing, because I got very insecure about my body. And he actually went in the bathroom and slammed the door and started listening to music and told me to get the away from him.
Mr. Parker, why did you react like that?
The frustration is on me. I'm stressed. I mean, I don't believe it's nothing wrong with her body, to be honest. I told her before multiple times.
But I was about to say, don't you know that a woman goes through a certain ups and downs of emotions, but actually you don't, because you're too young to know all of that.
Yeah.
And so let me educate you that after giving birth, there may be some emotional ups and downs. Some women experience that, some women don't. But a partner is supposed to be there for your partner. Why do you think you weren't there for what your now fiance needed?
Really? Like I told her before, it's nothing wrong with her body. I know women go through all things. Like, it's a lot of
But you
problems.
didn't convey that by your attitude or by your actions. So I'm asking you, what was going on with you? I'm not even going to deal with what was going on with her. What was going on with you that you could not be emotionally connected to what was happening?
I guess me having a son, my life changing a lot.
Thinking about them cars. We were on the highway, we had our son in the car with us. We ran out of gas, so he called me a lazy hoe because I didn't want to walk to the gas station with him, which was about 15 minutes down.
When we was younger, we used to walk everywhere.
Was she supposed to grab the baby out the car and walk down the shoulder of the road with you? Is that what your expectation was? That the name calling really has gotten out of control. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about the incident around the gas.
So it was a time where we were on the highway. We had our son in the car with us. He was very new to the world. So the car actually ding-dinged and told him that it needed gas. So him being cheap and want to find a cheap gas station, ended up, we ran out of gas. So he called me a lazy hoe because I didn't want to walk to the gas station with him, which was about 15 minutes down, and I had my son with me. So
how were you supposed to walk to the gas station with
my
him,
son? No
with the baby?
stroller.
Okay.
Now I'm a lazy hoe.
Mr. Parker, what was that about, sir?
I feel like she's been lazy ever since, like, we've been younger. When we was younger, we used to walk everywhere. Like, nowadays, it's that we have a car, and now she just wants
We have a kid.
Mr. Parker, hold on. There was a baby that was less than 6 months old. Was she supposed to grab the baby out the car and walk down the shoulder of the road with you because you were too stubborn to stop and get gas before the gas ran out? Is that what your expectation was? I just want to make sure I'm clear on what your expectation was, sir.
Really, it just was, I told her just to get the the stroller out the trunk and to walk with me, and she didn't want to.
But the stroller wasn't in the trunk.
But Mr. Parker, here's the thing. I can't imagine, Robert, I'm looking at you. I can't imagine Robert ever asking Chris, his wife, to take Sophia out the car to walk with him down the street 15 minutes to go get the gas. He'd be hustling to go get the gas to get back to his wife and child.
I'd be sprinting, bro.
Why would you think that that's something that she's supposed to do? Because your dingbat butt didn't want to stop for the gas.
Oh, Your Honor, can I tell you about the diaper story?
There's more?
Yes.
What?
So it was a time where we were arguing back and forth about who changed his diaper last. I just got off of work about 8 hours ago, and not 8 hours ago, I was on an 8-hour shift. And he told me that he changed his diaper last. And I'm like, okay, well, let me get in the house and get situated, and then I'll handle him. Can you change his diaper for now? And he said, well, he's just going back and forth with me. I changed his diaper last. So I let my baby sit there for about 2 minutes while I took off my work clothes and ended up changing my son's diaper, just to the fact that he wanted to be lazy, and he changed his diaper last. So now I'm still a lazy dog and a lazy pig because of this.
Okay, Mr. Parker, help me to understand. What is the problem? Mr. Parker says that he works on cars. That's your profession, correct?
Yes.
Do you make money at it, sir?
Yes.
Not when he's buying junk cars for $1,000.
So you're saying that business-wise, it doesn't make sense?
Correct.
It was an investment.
But I'm the one that had to pay rent. He didn't pay none of the rent that time.
So you're saying the $1,000 was wasted?
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content.
Mr. Parker, why are you throwing lazy at her? I mean, I just heard the lady go out and work for 8 hours.
She doesn't clean, she doesn't cook. She go to work, and I watch my son throughout the whole day, and I told her, like, if she can, you know, it was basically, she just doesn't do wife duties, to be honest.
Okay, well, what kind of husband duties are you doing?
I cook, clean, I take care of the house, I watch my son all day.
And so you are working inside the home while she's working outside the home?
Yes, that's because of what she wants to do. I told her that I would work with no problem.
But while you are working inside the home, and she's working outside the home, that's the dynamic that you all have set up, correct?
Yeah.
Y'all have decided that works for you all. Now, if y'all wanted to change that up, why haven't you?
Because I want to work.
She wants to work, so.
And you want to work?
I can sit there and watch my son, to be honest. If she wants to work,
so then why you have a problem with changing him?
I just think that she just needs to help a little more. That's about it. And sometimes, you know, she just doesn't help sometimes.
Well, you do realize that that is not healthy for the baby to sit in his own waste. People get diaper rash and all kinds of irritation.
He stay cursing me out. He brings me down. Like I said, I'm so insecure about my body. So for you to sit here and call the mother of your child out of her name and not bring me up.
And so what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for yourself? I don't care what he thinks about what he cares about your body. What do you want to do for your body?
Well, Your Honor, since he doesn't bring me up, like before I had my baby, he used to call me beautiful every day, and he used to tell me how much he appreciates me and stuff. And since he doesn't do that anymore, it just makes me not want to do it anymore.
Well, here's the thing. You don't need somebody to tell you you're beautiful. You are beautiful. You do not need to let somebody beat you down. Okay? And you don't need him to tell you that you're a pretty girl. You just be a pretty girl. Walk in the room as a pretty girl. You don't need to worry about what anybody else thinks. What do you think of yourself? If you don't think of yourself as good, nobody else is going to. So put your shoulders back. Put your big girl shoes on. You somebody's mama now. You want to raise your son so that when he sees a woman in the future, he says, I want her to be like my mother.
Mama.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
Your
put
Honor.
your shoulders back. And Mr. Parker, let me be real clear about you. Beating her down with nasty words is not a way to keep your woman.
I understand.
Yeah. I mean, suppose she started to come at you in an emasculating way, challenging your manhood. How would that make you feel?
Bad.
Exactly. That's exactly the way you are making her feel. Now, Mr. Parker says that he works on cars. That's your profession, correct?
Yes.
Do you make money at it, sir?
Yes.
Not when he's buying junk cars for $1,000.
So you're saying that business-wise, it doesn't make sense?
Correct.
It was an investment.
But I'm the one that had to pay rent. He didn't pay none of the rent that time.
So you're saying the $1,000 was wasted?
Correct. It could have went towards the rent.
So, Mr. Parker, what was your strategy? You buy it for $1,000. How much money were you going to put into it?
It just depends on the issue. Really, I believe one man's trash is another man's treasure.
I certainly agree with you on that, but did you do an analysis of what it needed? Because, see, it's one thing if it needed to have some dents knocked out of it, or does it need to have a transmission put in it? So if one man's trash is gonna cost $6,000 to fix it up, but it's only gonna get sold for $3,000, I don't see the treasure. Do you see my point?
I understand.
So that's what I'm saying. In terms of a business sense, you have to evaluate the cost-benefit analysis. Are you familiar with that concept?
Yes.
What it costs versus what it benefits? So I think that's what Ms. Kryger is trying to say. You did not do that. Am I right, ma'am?
Correct, Your Honor.
So what do you think is the real issue? If it's that, we already talked about how we're gonna put the little business sense.
He's just in love with his cars. He doesn't spend quality time with me. Your Honor, it was one time where we were sitting on the couch and he was looking at YouTube videos of cars burning out, and I just was kept sitting there bugging him to show me and my son attention. Then he went outside to work on a car for about 3 hours. So me and my son decided to go outside and go bother him. Not necessarily bother him, but help him. But he told me to go back inside with my son. I just wanted the attention.
Mr. Parker, what's that about, sir?
I was working. It was just my time basically to sit and think, really. When I work on my cars, I sit there and really think.
Well, Ms. Kryger said that y'all used to kind of work on it together. Actually, you're the one that just told me that earlier, that you like to work on stuff together.
Yeah, before my son was here. But
why don't you want her to be around now?
no, I don't have no reason, really, to.
He don't like me no more.
It's my job, really. It's just it's the way I make my money, so.
Did you hear what she just said? Why do you say that, Ms. Kryger?
I just don't get the attention no more.
Mr. Parker, have things changed, sir? You can be honest.
Somewhat.
Why?
We were supposed to be married by now.
I think so. I believe so.
What has changed for you?
Just the relationship, just a lot of things. I don't know. Maybe it's my son. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you.
What about your son? Explain.
Like, we get into it over little petty issues and arguments over my son, just stuff like that.
Did you not want the baby?
No, it's not that. It's just, I didn't think that we was gonna have a kid at the time that we did.
Well, you do know how to have avoided that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't make sure that happened.
You know, I wasn't a big fan of the fact that you all just jumped into a long-standing relationship, but the last thing you needed to do was jump into parenthood.
Thank you.
At this young age, when you were just not mature enough and ready. Would you agree with me on that?
I agree.
But now the baby's here.
Yes.
And now we have to step up and be parents. And at the very least, you're gonna have to be co-parents. You understand that?
I understand.
So what would you think is necessary, Mr. Parker, to get back to the relationship? Or do you want to? Because I think it's fair for me to ask you, do you want that relationship?
Yes, I do. I just want her to be able to be how she used to be when I was younger, really.
Well, you do realize that that puppy love is gone, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna ever happen again.
People change.
Yes, and they just grow up, they mature. Something tells me, Ms. Kryger, when you gave birth, you had no choice but to grow up and mature, because you're not just a young woman anymore, you're a young mother.
Yes, Your Honor. And it was a time where, you know, we have to have communication. We have a child together. It was a time where he went to the car wash and, you know, we share locations. Back in the days, his phone was my phone was his phone. Locations was both together. And it was a time where he went to the car wash and his location was unavailable for hours. He was unresponsive for hours. My son needed milk. He shows back up to the house, don't say anything, like there was no issue.
And what do you suspect?
He was cheating.
Next time on Divorce Court.
Do you really believe that he's stepping out on you?
Yes, Your Honor, especially when my car got vandalized.
That's a chick. That's a definite
Who
chick.
did this?
I really don't have an explanation for that one.
You just don't seem like you are into this relationship.
Exactly.
Is it just me? I know that your mother and you were estranged.
My name is Darcy Kryger.
Ms. Kryger, what are your thoughts on what's happening with this young couple?
I take a lot of responsibility for it, Your Honor. I love you, Cheyane. I don't want you to be an emotional punching bag.
Robert, will you please bring in Dr. Kaji Dosha, please? What advice would you like to share with Ms. Kryger and Mr. Parker?
You don't have to be where you are. You can still love each other with some distance.
But if we're not together, then we're with someone else, right?
Maybe.
Made in Georgia.